Queen Camilla was spotted running away from Birmingham Palace with bags full of cash after divorce rumors went viral with King Charles. Welcome viewers to my channel. Please subscribe, like my video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. Before the storm erupted, before the whispers became shouts and the world turned its eyes to Birmingham Palace, life for Queen Camilla seemed, at least on the surface, carefully ordered, almost serene. The palace itself was a microcosm of history, tradition, and meticulously maintained routines. Its grand halls echoed with footsteps of centuries past, the walls lined with portraits of ancestors who had walked these corridors, bearing titles, duties, and expectations that were now her inheritance as queen. In many ways, she had mastered the performance of royalty. Every movement, every gesture, every public smile had been carefully curated over decades. Camilla knew the optics of power, the subtle art of presence, and the intricate choreography required to navigate a world where perception often mattered more than reality. Yet, even in these moments of outward calm, there were fissures forming beneath the surface, fissures that would soon widen into cracks impossible to ignore. The palace mornings were ritualistic, a blend of precision and protocol: breakfast in the sunlit dining room, meetings with aides, security briefings, and public engagement planning. Camilla, always attentive, had long carried the unspoken weight of observation, the subtle scrutiny of staff, courtiers, and above all the press. The Queen's schedule was a delicate balance of duty and discretion, an act that required constant vigilance. She walked through the corridors with the quiet authority of someone who knew both the rules and the exceptions, the privileges and the limitations. But in private, she was human with doubts, fears, and ambitions that rarely found an outlet. And it was in this private space, hidden from the public gaze, that the first sparks of tension with King Charles had begun to take shape. Their marriage, while outwardly stable, had been tested in ways that the public would never fully understand. The strain of decades under constant observation, combined with the intense pressures of modern royal life, had introduced a subtle distance between them. Small disagreements, once easily resolved, had started to linger. Conversations that might once have ended with a shared laugh now carried a quiet undercurrent of frustration or misunderstanding. King Charles, with his own responsibilities as monarch, often seemed preoccupied, his attention divided between state affairs and the relentless demands of public perception. Camilla, ever perceptive, noticed these shifts, and while she outwardly maintained composure, the subtle emotional ripples did not go unnoticed. Rumors, as they often do, began as nothing more than background noise, a fleeting comment here, a hint of a story there. Initially, they were dismissed as the inevitable chatter surrounding high-profile figures. Royal marriages have always been a subject of public fascination. Whispers of discord are as old as the institution itself. Yet, in this case, the whispers carried a weight that could not easily be ignored. Online forums, social media posts, and even reputable tabloids began to hint at tensions that had been simmering beneath the surface. Divorce rumors, once a distant abstraction, began to feel tangible. People wondered aloud, speculated, and shared supposed insider accounts of arguments, disagreements, and private disputes. The virality of these rumors transformed what might have been contained tensions into a spectacle with the potential for real-life consequences. Camilla's daily life, once predictable, began to shift under this subtle pressure. She moved through her routines with heightened awareness, scanning her surroundings for signs of scrutiny or intrusion. Even minor encounters, staff gossip, unexpected visitors, offhand comments were filtered through a lens of caution. Every action carried the weight of potential misinterpretation. It was not fear of King Charles that dominated her thoughts, but fear of exposure, of being framed by a narrative she could not control. In the quiet moments before dawn, she would sit in her chambers, reflecting on the delicate balance between appearance and reality, understanding that her choices would ripple outward far beyond the walls of Birmingham Palace. The calm exterior of the palace belied the undercurrents of tension. Staff whispered among themselves, debating the authenticity of rumors, observing subtle changes in behavior. The aides who had long served the Queen noted a shift in her demeanor, a firmness in decision-making, a sharper tone in conversation, an intensity in her gaze that had not been there before. These were small signals, almost imperceptible to the casual observer, but to those attuned to the rhythms of palace life, they were harbingers of something larger. Camilla was not merely reacting to rumors. She was anticipating consequences, positioning herself for actions that had yet to materialize. Socially, the Queen maintained her appearances with careful precision. Garden parties, charitable events, and formal ceremonies continued as scheduled, each a reminder to the public that the monarchy remained steadfast, unaffected by speculation. Yet, behind the scenes, Camilla navigated the duality of public composure and private calculation. Conversations with her closest aides often revolved around messaging, optics, and contingency planning. How to respond to the rumors if they escalated, how to maintain dignity and authority while managing the unpredictable behaviors of those around her. Every decision, no matter how small, was weighted with potential consequences. The palace, for all its grandeur, had become a stage upon which personal survival and public expectation collided. It was within this context that the Queen's awareness of her vulnerabilities sharpened. The divorce rumors, while unverified, illuminated a broader truth. The monarchy is not immune to scrutiny, and titles, wealth, and status can all be questioned when the narrative shifts. Camilla began to consider options, scenarios that previously seemed unnecessary or improbable. What would she do if the public pressure became unbearable? How could she secure her position, her independence, and her dignity in the face of rumors threatening to undermine both her personal life and her public role? These questions, once abstract, began to take on urgent immediacy. For King Charles, the calm before the storm carried its own challenges. As rumors circulated, he found himself caught between disbelief and strategic concern. His role demanded restraint, poise, and a careful navigation of perception versus reality. The marriage he shared with Camilla had endured years of scrutiny, personal sacrifices, and public expectations. Yet, even he could not fully anticipate the impact of a story that went viral with such intensity. Every meeting with advisors, every statement to staff, and every glance exchanged with Camilla became a calculated move in a high-stakes game. The quiet of the palace, once a source of stability, was now a stage for tension and anticipation. By the time the evening shadows fell across the palace, the undercurrent of unease had thickened into a palpable tension. The halls that had once resonated with calm footsteps now seemed to hum with expectation. Camilla's private reflections intensified, a mental rehearsal of possibilities and outcomes. She understood that the coming days could redefine her life, her marriage, and her place in history. Yet within that awareness lay a strange clarity. The calm before the storm was not merely a pause. It was an opportunity to prepare to strategize and to assert control in a world that increasingly threatened to dictate terms for her. And so the stage was set. Birmingham Palace, with its historic grandeur, its quiet corridors, and its watchful portraits, became both a sanctuary and a pressure cooker. The Queen, poised between restraint and action, would soon confront the reality that rumor, once dismissed as noise, could erupt into a force capable of demanding decisions of unprecedented gravity. The calm before the storm was ending, and with its passing, the first acts of a drama that would captivate the world were beginning to unfold. In the age of instant information, a single whisper can ignite a wildfire. What begins as a murmur in the shadows can within hours become a global spectacle. This was precisely what happened when the first hints of trouble in the royal household began to surface. At first, it was nothing more than subtle hints in the press, offhand comments by palace correspondents, carefully worded lines in tabloids suggesting tension, a fleeting reference on social media that went largely unnoticed. But in the world of modern media, the unnoticed rarely stays that way for long. The story gained traction with remarkable speed. A minor report about the Queen and King Charles attending separate engagements in London and Birmingham was transformed into speculation of a rift between the couple. Analysts and commentators dissected the schedules, interpreting missed dinners and delayed appearances as proof of personal discord. Separation in public events signals private conflict, one popular blogger asserted. Her words shared and reared across platforms with the velocity of a spark touching dry kindling. Suddenly, the quiet corridors of Birmingham Palace became the center of an explosive global narrative, and Queen Camilla found herself at the heart of a media storm that threatened to overwhelm both perception and reality. The nature of these rumors was not only personal but sensational. They were crafted to provoke curiosity and scandal, combining the allure of wealth, status, and secrecy. Headlines splashed across screens read, "Queen Camilla spotted with cash amid divorce rumors and royal split. Queen flees Birmingham Palace." These declarations, though unverified, had the effect of framing the Queen as both vulnerable and defiant. The public, already fascinated by the monarchy, responded with a mixture of fascination and outrage. The story was no longer just about Camilla and Charles. It became a commentary on the fragility of royal life, the pressures of constant scrutiny, and the unpredictable consequences of rumor in the digital age. Social media amplified the effect dramatically. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, each platform became a stage where speculation played out in real time. Influencers dissected photos, analyzed video clips, and drew conclusions about body language, tone, and context. Hashtags trended, memes multiplied, and the narrative spread faster than any official statement could hope to contain it. Camilla on the run, one post quipped, paired with an edited image of the Queen clutching a bag. Others were less humorous, offering supposed insider knowledge of palace politics. The speed at which the rumors circulated left the royal household struggling to regain control, as traditional channels of communication proved insufficient to combat the viral tide. The psychological effect on Queen Camilla was profound. Though she had navigated decades of scrutiny, the intensity and immediacy of modern media presented a new challenge. The rumors were not just whispers anymore. They were demands, expectations, and threats, each carrying the weight of global attention. Every news alert, every shared post seemed to reinforce the notion that her private life was now public property, subject to debate and judgment by millions who had never set foot in the palace. For a woman accustomed to controlling her public image with meticulous precision, the experience was both disorienting and galvanizing. Palace aides tasked with damage control moved quickly but cautiously. Press releases were drafted, carefully worded statements were prepared, and internal meetings were convened to assess the situation. Each advisor understood the delicate balance. Deny too forcefully, and the media would interpret it as panic. Deny too lightly, and rumors would gain momentum. The palace's traditional strategies were being tested by a force that could not be constrained by schedules, etiquette, or propriety. It was a moment that highlighted the stark reality of living under the relentless gaze of public scrutiny. Perception often carries as much power as truth, and the consequences of mismanagement could be profound. Meanwhile, the public reacted with a mixture of shock, curiosity, and judgment. Comment threads filled with speculation, conspiracy theories, and emotional reactions. Some expressed empathy for Camilla, imagining the pressures of royal life and the difficult choices it imposed. Others relished the drama, dissecting every perceived flaw and using the rumors to reinforce their preconceptions about monarchy, wealth, and privilege. The story became a mirror reflecting societal fascination with scandal, illustrating how the private struggles of public figures are transformed into entertainment, commentary, and sometimes even moral judgment. The virality of the rumors also had implications beyond the palace gates. International media picked up the story, framing it as an unprecedented challenge to the monarchy. News outlets in Europe, Asia, and North America reported on the supposed discord, each adding its own interpretation, sometimes factual, often speculative. Analysts debated potential outcomes. Would the Queen and King separate? How would the monarchy navigate the fallout? What precedent might this set for future royal conduct? In every case, the rumors became a catalyst for discussion, debate, and even anxiety among those who follow the monarchy closely. Amid the frenzy, Camilla herself was not idle. The viral storm forced her to make decisions with unprecedented urgency. She understood that waiting for clarity, for official statements, for the rumor mill to settle, was no longer an option. The speed and intensity of modern media demanded action, and the decisions she made in those moments would carry consequences far beyond the palace. Her awareness of the narrative, combined with her instinct for self-preservation, drove her to consider paths that were strategic, calculated, and bold, paths that would soon lead her to take actions the world would watch with disbelief and fascination. The interplay between rumor and reality highlights an important truth about human perception. What is repeated often enough with enough conviction and embellishment becomes believable. The viral spread of the divorce story exemplified this principle. Even without verified evidence, the repeated suggestion of conflict created a perception of conflict. For the Queen, this meant that perception became as critical as reality. Every movement, every gesture, every decision was interpreted through a lens colored by rumor, and every action could either reinforce or undermine the narrative being written by the media. The stakes could not have been higher. As the days passed, the tension escalated. Palace staff noticed Camilla's heightened vigilance, her careful attention to timing, and her subtle but deliberate shifts in routine. Security protocols were reviewed, routes were adjusted, and contingency plans were quietly implemented. The Queen's life, which had once seemed predictable and structured, now operated within a context of rapid change and escalating uncertainty. Each moment became a negotiation between discretion and necessity, between maintaining public composure and managing private concerns. The viral nature of the rumors ensured that there was little room for error, and the consequences of misstep were immediate and highly visible. The lesson of this period is clear. In the modern era, no one, not even a queen, is immune to the force of viral information. The rumors, amplified by digital platforms, had moved beyond the realm of gossip and entered the domain of action. They demanded responses, not just statements, and they catalyzed decisions that would shape the trajectory of the monarchy itself. Camilla's awareness of this reality set the stage for her next moves, each of which would test her resolve, her judgment, and her ability to navigate a world where rumor, perception, and reality intersect in unpredictable ways, and so the viral storm of rumors became both a challenge and an opportunity for the Queen. It was a call to action, a signal that the calm days of routine were over, and that the next chapter of her life would require courage, strategy, and decisiveness unlike anything she had faced before. What began as whispers had become an unstoppable force, and the consequences were already unfolding. The world was watching, and Camilla was preparing to act. Inside Birmingham Palace, the atmosphere had shifted. The calm, controlled environment that had long defined the royal residence now felt charged, almost electric with tension. Courtiers whispered in hushed tones, staff moved within spoken urgency, and security personnel doubled their vigilance. The palace, a symbol of order, tradition, and meticulous hierarchy, had become a pressure cooker of fear, uncertainty, and anticipation. Every corridor, Every room seemed to vibrate with the awareness that something unprecedented was occurring, and no one was entirely certain how it would unfold. The source of this upheaval was, of course, the viral rumors that had swept through the media like a tidal wave. Reports of a potential divorce, coupled with sensational speculation about the Queen allegedly preparing to flee with bags of cash, had thrown the palace into a state of high alert. While official statements were being prepared and protocols for public messaging reviewed internally, the staff grappled with the reality that the monarchy, which had survived centuries of upheaval, could be destabilized not by external threats, but by the relentless scrutiny of modern media. Aides and advisers convened in emergency meetings, their faces drawn and expressions tense. Discussions ranged from damage control strategies to contingency plans for the Queen's security and well-being. Courtiers who had served faithfully for decades found themselves facing dilemmas they had never anticipated. How to respond to unverified claims without fueling them. How to protect their Queen while preserving the dignity of the institution, and how to anticipate her next moves when even she was acting under the pressure of a rapidly evolving narrative. The conversations were intense, punctuated by the occasional sigh, murmured caution, and the occasional raised voice. Every decision carried potential consequences for the monarchy, for public perception, and for the individuals tasked with maintaining the facade of order. Meanwhile, Camilla herself moved through the palace with a heightened awareness of every glance, every sound, every subtle shift in routine. She could sense the tension radiating from those around her, concerned aides, loyal but anxious staff, security officers on edge. It was clear that the viral rumors had created an environment in which her very presence carried weight beyond her control. Each movement she made was observed, interpreted, and sometimes misinterpreted. The palace had become a stage upon which her private decisions were scrutinized, each footstep a potential headline. The Queen's emotions were a complex mix of fear, determination, and strategic calculation. She understood that the palace's panic was both a reflection of the seriousness of the situation and an opportunity to assert control. Every whispered concern, every frantic consultation highlighted the power she held not simply as a figurehead, but as an individual capable of decisive action. The tension was a mirror of her own internal state, a combination of anticipation, apprehension, and the urgent need to protect herself.